So what really makes a mobile app a success? I'll give you a hint. It's not just about the download numbers. Today, we're going to dive into the key metrics that tell the real story behind your app's performance.
Think about it. You've poured your heart and soul into building your app, and now it's out there. The downloads are starting to tick up, but is that the whole story? How do you actually know if you've got a hit on your hands? You might see a huge, exciting number like this on your dashboard and think, we made it, 1 million downloads. I mean, it feels like a massive win, but as we're about to see, downloads are really only the beginning of the journey. This is where the real story begins. An app's success isn't just about getting people in the door. It's about making them want to stay. Did they find what they were looking for? More importantly, did they come back for more? The best way to answer those questions is to think of app analytics like a doctor's checkup for your app. These metrics, they're the vital signs. They show you its underlying health and tell you exactly where you need to focus your attention. So what are we actually talking about here? Well, mobile app analytics is just the process of turning user behavior into cold, hard data. It bridges that massive gap between what you think your users are doing and what they're actually doing inside your app. And why is this so crucial? Because without this data, you're flying blind. You're just guessing. Analytics give you the clarity to act strategically, to guide your product roadmap, find and fix those hidden problems, and ultimately build an app that people genuinely love.
So the key here is not to get overwhelmed and try to track absolutely everything. The goal is to focus on the metrics that answer the most important questions about your users and their journey with your app.
It helps to group these metrics into 5 core categories. Together, they tell the complete story, from how users find you in the first place to whether they actually enjoy the experience and if they decide to come back for more. Let's start right at the beginning of the user journey, discovery and installation. This is all about understanding which channels are bringing you the most valuable users. Are those expensive ads actually bringing in people who stick around, or are your most loyal fans coming from a single blog post? Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. We can use 2 simple engagement metrics, daily active users and monthly active users, to get a super powerful snapshot of how sticky our app is. DAU tells you about daily habits, while MAU gives you the bigger picture of your total reach. And this is where the magic happens. By simply dividing your DAU by your MAU, you get something called a stickiness ratio. For example, a ratio of 0.5 means the average user opens your app on 15 out of 30 days. Now, world-class apps might hit over 50%, but even hitting 20% is a really strong sign you've built something people want in their daily lives. Of course, retention and churn are really just 2 sides of the same coin. They measure whether your app delivers enough value to make people stay. And get this, acquiring a new user can cost 5 times more than keeping an existing one. That's why a high retention rate isn't just a vanity metric. It's a direct sign of your app's long-term health. For many of us, success eventually comes down to monetization. And these 3 metrics tell you if your business model is actually going to work. Is the lifetime value of a user greater than the cost to acquire them? That's the fundamental equation. If it's not, you're basically paying people to use your app, and that's a strategy that runs out of road very, very fast. But here's the thing. Even with great marketing and amazing features, a clunky user experience can destroy all your hard work in an instant.
First impressions are everything. We're talking milliseconds here. People are incredibly impatient these days, and even a tiny 1 or 2 second delay in your app's load time can be enough to make them leave and, well, never come back. You don't get a second chance.
And even worse than a slow app is an app that just doesn't work. The crash rate is the ultimate deal breaker. To a user, a crash isn't just a technical glitch. It feels like a broken promise. It signals that your app is unreliable, and that feeling just demolishes trust. Okay, so understanding these metrics is step 1, but the real power comes from using them to make smarter, faster, and just more confident decisions for your app. It really comes down to a simple 3-step process to turn all this data into actual growth. You got to start tracking from day 1, then you define what success actually looks like for you, and most importantly, you use those insights to take action. And that's because the KPIs, your key performance indicators, should directly reflect your main goals. If you're a brand new app focused on growth, your dashboard is going to look way different than an established app that's focused on monetization. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Really, it's about shifting your perspective, moving from just collecting numbers to truly understanding the story that those numbers are trying to tell you. This quote just says it perfectly. Data isn't meant to replace your intuition or your creativity. It's meant to support it. It lets you move forward with confidence, knowing your decisions are backed by real evidence of what your users want. By tracking and understanding these core metrics, you're not just looking at numbers on a screen. You're learning to listen. You're learning to hear the story that your users are telling you with every single interaction. And that is the key to building an app that doesn't just get downloaded, but gets loved.